Natal Venus-Uranus aspects speak of a relationship between our sense of self-worth, which is tied in with our social and romantic relationships, and our need for independence, original thinking, and change. Uranus here acts as an electrifying energy in relation to our relationships and values. It can also speak of our finances, including sudden changes in this area. Venus is romantic and is related to partnerships and social graces, while Uranus wants to break free and innovate. This combination can be an interesting mix because the two planets' needs are quite different. Venus rules Taurus, which is in a square relationship with Aquarius, the sign that Uranus is the modern ruler of. Squares represent tension. However, interestingly, Venus also rules Libra, which is in a flowing and harmonious trine relationship with Uranus' sign Aquarius. While Taurus is an earth sign which is more connected to the financial and material side of Venus, Libra is an air sign like Aquarius. Libra deals with one-on-one partnerships and general sociability, while Aquarius is connected to social issues on a grander scale, being tapped into the collective consciousness and social change. Therefore, you could say that Venus-Uranus connections involve both square-like and trine-like energies. But let's look at specific aspects in the birth chart. The conjunction between Venus and Uranus means that Venusian and Uranian themes are blended in the person's psyche. They cannot be separated. For this person, it may just be second nature to organize their life in such a way that they have a significant amount of room for personal expression and freedom, even if in a relationship. Relationships come hand in hand with a need for freedom. Suffocation through relationships is not an option. This person might also be a very charismatic and social person, interested in elevating social consciousness, especially in the realm of relationships and personal expression. Venus also has to do with our appearance and how we go about expressing ourselves through our clothes, hairstyle, and so on. Having a Venus-Uranus conjunction can speak of the person very much seeking to express themselves freely when it comes to their appearance. They derive a sense of self-worth and value through this. You could say that when they are expressing their Venus, they are also expressing their Uranus and vice versa, and this comes very naturally to them. Unique self-expression is important here and has a direct correlation with a person's self-worth and value system. The opposition can indicate that the person attracts people or relationships which drive them to need to break free. Other people and external situations in their life can show them ways in which they want to express themselves or which way they would like to go in life. There may be commitment issues because the person oscillates between wanting to cultivate relationships and wanting to be completely free to do their own thing. This person can be very charming, which can make it easier to attract people. And the very reason why they might attract people easily is so that those people will show them their need to be free and to express their original ideas. People come into our lives for a reason, and in this case, the reason might be just that. Stimulation and personal freedom are important here, but it doesn't mean that a stable relationship is not possible. It may just be important to incorporate a high level of independence and personal freedom within the context of the relationship. It may also be important to incorporate exciting adventures with the other person and some unpredictability to keep it from being stale. A Venus-Uranus square shows that there is an inner tension between the person's natural need for relationships and the need for personal independence and personal expression. It's as if there is an urge to break free on the inside. They can be charming and somehow electric or electrifying, always ready to express the next interesting insight or have the next interesting adventure which expresses their love of freedom. However, there is still a need for relating, and their erratic and extremely free-spirited nature can make it difficult for some types of people to relate to them or to get close to them. The person with a Venus-Uranus square would do well to have social and romantic relationships where personal freedom and expression is celebrated. Time needs to be made for this, or it can create a lot of internal tension that might then be released in more inappropriate ways. The person's style of relating or expressing themselves might be seen as unusual, eccentric, erratic, or out of place somehow. This is related to their need to simply be themselves and break free, but it just doesn't come without a sort of inner conflict. These energies are not flowing very pleasantly, like with the trine, for example. With the trine between Venus and Uranus, the person can have a sort of magnetic and interesting quality that people notice and are curious about. Even if they are not very social overall, they still have a way of communicating in social situations that more often than not make people intrigued by them. They might be described as mysterious, offbeat, quirky, or even fascinating. Their style of dressing might be naturally their own, interesting and stylish. They don't even have to think about it or do much to cultivate it. It just happens naturally. In daily life, there can be a pattern of other people around them picking up on this and commenting on their appearance or clothing positively. There can be a natural flair for picking out clothes that suit them and that they like. They can have a sixth sense for these things. Personal freedom is also extremely important here, but in most cases it probably won't be felt as an internal tension, like with the square, for example. It is more so something that is seen as a given, and they will organize their life in a way that allows for this personal freedom. For them, it is just a given that they will have alone time if they want it, and that they will pursue hobbies that they want to pursue, and so on. It is something that is so much a part of their everyday life that they simply don't question it. The sextile between Venus and Uranus can provide a lovely opportunity to have relationships that are exciting. People notice them, they are interesting to others. This energy may not be as strong as with the trine, but with a little bit of cultivation, this person can really master their own potential in terms of how they come across to others. They can receive very nice opportunities by being charming and interesting to others. This can be the person who almost seems to have a spark in their eye. They have interesting ideas and conversation topics. They can also find interesting and unique ways of making money, and they can have a natural flair for how to innovate. Venus has to do with money, and Uranus has to do with independence, innovation, and the future. So this aspect can be great for finding ways to become financially independent, successful, and innovative. A Venus-Uranus quincunx can speak of an internal tension between wanting freedom and wanting to have a stable relationship. There may be difficulties with cultivating intimacy. The person might want to be in a relationship one day and wish to break free the next. It can be difficult to be in a relationship because when they feel stable in the context of the relationship, they may miss their personal freedom. And when they are expressing their personal freedom and doing their own thing, they might long for the warmth of a stable relationship. The work here would involve finding people who understand their quirky nature and cultivating relationships where their sudden or unconventional behaviors will not necessarily bother the other person. It would be good for the person with this aspect to accept this part of themselves and try to find a personally fulfilling way to incorporate both parts of themselves in a way that works for them. Both the need for relationships and stability and the need for personal expression and freedom, which can also be expressed in sudden outbursts. Room needs to be made for both. Thanks for listening. If you appreciated this, please leave a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button if you'd like more.